Alright, today I'm going to be showing you how to do a walnut blast. The car that I'm specifically showing it on is going to be a 2015 or 2016 Chevy Malibu 1.5 turbo direct injection. Now this is going to be similar to all direct injections where you got to take off the intake manifold, make sure that both intake valves are closed, and then that you can spray with the walnut. Now basically you can get the whole setup from Harbor Freight. One thing, as I'm describing on the video, I did forget to mention, for the porcelain tip, when you slide in the pipe, you need to kind of spin it around, or use like kind of a drill bit just to make the hole just a tad bit. You're not going to drill too much, you're just going to make the hole just slightly big enough. Now just be very cautious that the valves are closed so that you don't damage anything. You do not want the walnuts inside the combustion chamber. You do not want to damage the cylinder walls or damage the valves in any sort of way. So needless to say, if you haven't already, comment below if you have any further questions on this. Subscribe, like, and share for other people that need to go through this type of service and save money on this type of job. This will save you hundreds of dollars to thousands for the procedure. Now, again, you got to be very crucial, very understanding. I just want to make sure that we are very clear on this, that you can damage something if you don't do it properly with the valves closed. Now, if you wanted to double check to make sure that the valve is closed, you can actually spray some brake cleaner that will evaporate over time, or you can actually just start the car by cranking it with the spark plugs out of the cylinders, so that will blow whatever remaining fluid, so it doesn't hydrolock in that part. So when you spray the brake fluid, now you need to make sure that it's not leaking into the combustion chamber. If it's not leaking in, that's how you know you are sealed up in those intake valve chambers. So again, we're gonna go ahead and start this video right after this intro. We're going to need a T30. We're going to go ahead and take this off just for demonstration purpose, and it makes it a little bit more easier to see things. Then we're going to go ahead and pull this guy right off. Now there's an opening right here where you have to slide this right off, so just kind of wiggle it, and then same thing for right here. You're just going to wiggle it back and forth. Don't yank it, just be very gentle with it. So now we're going to go ahead and take off the intake inlet tube. So we'll just go ahead and use a pick and pry this guy right back. And then this will lift up pretty easy. Right here we're going to have our clips. So you're just going to pull back on these tabs, push down, and then they'll come off pretty easy. Same thing for the throttle body. And then we have these tabs that are on there, so you're just going to pull these guys back. Alright, so for this green tab right here, what we're going to go ahead and do is that we're going to go ahead and get a pick and then just pull this right back. And then we'll set this aside. And then this guy will be able to slide right out. Alright, so now for the intake, on the bottom piece there's this connector. So now you're just gonna slide back and forth, so just like this. And we'll just set that aside. So you're just gonna rock it back and forth, and then we'll just set it right aside. Alright, so now we're going to have to take off the 5 10mm bolts that are holding on this intake. So there's going to be one right here. There's going to be the second one. And then right here under this hose is going to be a third one. You're going to need an extension for that. And then there's the fourth one. And then the fifth one would be right there. Now the intake will be able to slide out now, so we'll just rock it back and forth. Alright, so those are the valves. That's on intake port 1. And then obviously, you know, the same thing. So those valves are closed right now. This is going to be cylinder number 2. And you're going to see the valves actually open on those ones. Same thing for these guys. And then number 4 is closed. Alright, so we got already one cylinder sandblasted. Now I didn't show the part of the sandblasting, but I will show the cylinder number 4 of the sandblasting. Now I just went around, I got everything that was needed for the job, and then I'm going to go ahead and describe of what's needed for the job in that matter. So you, this will save you time and like a stress of trying to figure out everything on this part. So we're going to be using the walnut shell blasting and tumbling media soft abrasive. I'm using fine 24 grit. Now there is more aggressive. Make sure you're using the fine one because that will clean it out more thoroughly. And here it'll be in a box, so it'll pretty much be like this. Then we're going to be using a portable abrasive blaster kit. For the whole thing, I think you're going to probably spend less than $70. Yeah, less than $70 for everything for the kit. Now if you have a vacuum laying around, then obviously you don't need to purchase that. I'm using a wet drive shop vac, like a Home Depot brand. That's the one that I'm using actually. And for the filter, to make sure you're not damaging it, make sure you're getting for fine dust. This will be suitable for this department. And then you're going to go ahead and pick this up too as well, the pneumatic 4-piece blowgun set. Basically all you need is just this pipe. I got this one right here. I used this one and then I cut it. Cut about like that much right there with the grinder. So basically this is how it would semi look like, but the one that I have on there would be a little bit longer. I'm gonna go ahead and show you that, but before I do, I'm gonna show you what I did was, so basically I grinded this down right here, just so that this could fit in the gun that came with the sandblaster. And then right here I cut this lip, and then this will separate. This is what keeps it pressed in. And then so once you grind all this off, it should separate. This will come right off, it will slide right off, and then you'll cut this way, so at this angle, and then you'll be able to slide this guy right off. If needed, you would cut on opposite sides so that it'll fall right in, right off. And then pretty much here's how the gun's gonna look like. So that we have basically you would just have this guy right here, the porcelain, so it could catch all the so that it'll fill up the space in that, and then that it'll go through the nozzle itself. So this is where I cut it, so you can see that. And then make sure you get a pick and take out whatever debris is and blow this out before blowing in the engine. Alright, so this was obviously this is how the setup is, but basically you would just take this guy right out, and then have to loosen this up all the way. And this is pretty much how it would look like. Now what I did was I kind of bent right here at this spot just so I could make sure that this stays put, so that this pipe is not flying around. So I made some grooves so it stays put, and then I hammered it down. And then obviously you're gonna grind these areas because so you can put like an Allen wrench or a wrench on it so it'll stay in place. But we're not doing that because we want it just to slide right in here perfectly. And then we'll go ahead and put that in. Basically when you tie it down, this Allen right here, it's gonna sit right here on the threads itself. So as you can see, it has some room for it to slide through.
you don't have to worry about it bottoming out all the way. So just like that, and then we'll just slide this guy right in, and then this will hold it in place to keep it centered. And then you'll just get it tight to where this won't fly right off, and that this will kind of basically push this out the way, and then it'll help lock this in place so that there's no extra debris flying in out of the way. So yeah, so we're pretty much starting the process. I just wanted to see how this was going to work. And then the hose that the sandblaster came with, I cut that partial ways because you need to have this up in the air and you need to have the gun upside down. That's how you're going to get the best results out of this. Now, if you have the gun shooting like this, you're not going to get the best results. So if you have it shooting like this, obviously you're going to get like really great results pretty fast. You're not going to be there all day, and then you're going to have the vacuum to vacuum up all that spot. There's cylinder 1. That's both intake valves. You can see how pretty clean they are. If I can get a zoom in on that. Now the back where I couldn't really reach it, obviously that's not going to be hit. Now you see around that outer ring, you'll see like the little white dust. That's the walnut. So once we're rotating the crank, we're going to go ahead and get that cleaned out. So we're going to take out the spark plugs and blow out of the spark plug tubes so we can get whatever remaining. So we don't want that going inside. Now right there, that's 4. So you can see the results, the before and after. So we're going to go ahead and clean that up. Ports, because since 1 and 4 are closed, basically we need to worry about 2 and 3 because they're going to be open cylinders. And then right here on the turbo inlet tube or on the intake tube, we put a napkin in there just to close that right up. And then this hose right here, the evap hose, we close that right off with tape, and then I pretty much cover the alternator. As you can see right there, I have this rag right there so we don't have any particles trying to go all over the place. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and record that process of cylinder number 4, and then make sure that you mask these off pretty well. Alright, so this is pretty much how my setup's going to be. So basically I have a little small funnel cup. You can actually get these from Harbor Freight. I believe it's $2.99, and it'll give you, I think, like 4 or 5 of them, and I think you're going to use the biggest one. I've had these for a long time, so I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that was the biggest one. Then obviously we're going to do, it's going to be like a gravity feed. So you're basically just going to have the gun upside down, and then you're going to feed you're going to spray the intake chamber. And then make sure you have some safety glasses on too, because this stuff will be flying all over the place. And then make sure you have your ports closed, and then make sure you put tape all around, because I believe they are some EGR ports in there. And then you're going to have your vacuum on the side too as well while vacuuming this area. So it's going to get kind of loud right now, so it's going to be a little fast intro. So now you can see the chamber, like how clean that is. So that one I'm gonna hit a little bit more. Sorry, it's just kind of hard to see on the video. Right there. So I'm gonna hit that one a little bit more. And then once I'm done with that, then we'll move over to the next other cylinders. Now we're gonna rotate the crank. Basically, you're gonna need a 24 millimeter. So right there, you can see we're gonna be spinning the crankshaft, and you're gonna be using a 24 millimeter for the Chevy Malibu. Obviously, other cars are gonna be a little bit different, but in general, this one's a 24 millimeter, and then we're gonna be spinning it from up top. So now, as you can see, make sure there's no walnuts in there, you never know. So we're gonna go ahead and keep spinning it until those valves close. So right there, you can see, if you're not too sure, obviously the firing order is gonna be 1, 3, 2, or 1, 3, 4, 2. Now both of these intakes are closed. Now the 1, 4, 2 is gonna be open. One valve is gonna be open, so I'm gonna leave that for the next rotation. But as you can see, I sprayed brake cleaner in there. Now if it's leaking, if it's open, the brake cleaner will go through. Now if you're going to be doing this method, make sure that you take out the spark plugs and then crank the system or blow air through the spark plug tubes, so that we can make sure that there's no fluid inside the cylinder chamber, so that we don't hydro lock it. Alright, so we got this valve, both of those valves cleaned up. So looking great. And as soon as you're done with that, just go ahead and spray brake cleaner and then air that out. And then we're going to go ahead and finish number 2. Alright, so right there you can see that this cylinders, or the intake ports, are pretty dry. So now I'm going to go ahead and spray the brake cleaner just to make sure that they are fully seated. You can wait about like 30 seconds or about 1 or 2 minutes to see if it actually sinked down. Just take your measurements and see if they actually went through. If the fluid's going through, then obviously you know it leaked into one of the cylinders. So now we're going to go ahead and spray the brake fluid, or brake cleaner, sorry about that. So this is pretty much how it's going to be. I'm just going to spray in each ports. And then right there, see that the brake cleaner is just sitting down there. So now I know that these are sealed. So you can go ahead and wait like about a minute or two and make sure that it hadn't leaked out. And then we're gonna go ahead and spray this out with the air, and then we can go ahead and start cleaning them with the walnut gun. Alright, so there you have it. I can get this to focus. So there you have it. All the cylinders are clean for the intake valves. So now we're going to go ahead and just go through all the cylinders and spray air in them, make sure no debris got through. And yeah, we're pretty much done for that process. We're going to go ahead and put everything back together. And make sure you clean your area with brake cleaner. So we're going to clean this. So we're going to spray brake cleaner in there first. So just like this. We just want to get all that little residue out the way. See how much more cleaner it is. And then make sure you air off all the walnut off, because we just don't want it leak going back into the intake while we're putting everything back together. Obviously put in new gaskets. Don't forget to take off this rag from the intake tube, and then so on. And pretty much the rest of the video is going to be like a fast forward. So yeah.
this video helped you out, comment down below. Again, like and share, and then hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future, and thanks for watching.